Gen Z and millennials are questioning having kids, with affordability and reliability as main concerns there, and especially when it comes to child care. Only 30% of adults aged 18 to 44 said they definitely want kids, while 44% say they have no desire. 68% of respondents note that the cost of raising children makes them less likely to become parents. Here to dig in is Brad Wilson, CEO of Care.com. You've had a busy day. We've seen you at opening bell ceremonies.
It's been a busy day.
My goodness.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us back at the studio here.
It's great to see you, Brad.
Let's just go into the data here. Why are we seeing this as the pushback, the major pushback, as it comes to family formation as well, and the cost, and where we can start to remove some of that cost from this?
Yeah, I think some of the story is not new, and then there's a part that is new, which is really the mental anguish. But we all know about the cost of care. 40% of household expenses today go to caregiving. 22% go to child care alone. So enormously expensive, and as we've seen over the past decade, caregiving's had about a 260% increase in care, particularly child care expenses, versus, say, normal inflation over a decade of around 3% per year, call it less than 100%. So exorbitant costs. I think what we're seeing now as a result of that, and don't forget, this is an access story as well. So we saw through the pandemic and COVID, a lot of child care, daycare centers shut down. Care.com benefited mightily from that with our in-home caregiver pool. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, it's really hard to find affordable, quality child care. So that is playing out in the mental toll we're seeing with parents and families. We've reported and see that 90% of parents are reporting losing sleep as a result of having to find and manage care. And even almost 30% have reported that they've considered self-harm. So it's a really taxing time.
Well, then you also have some of the elected officials that are saying, well, wait a minute, we got this bill that's going to work its way through. It's going to give you $1,000 if you have a kid. It's going to give you access to a MAGA account, as they were calling it. I mean, some of the efforts that we're seeing get put forward don't actually address, at least from first glance and observation, the more deeper entrenched issue that you were just laying out a moment ago.
That's right, yeah. I mean, listen, we want to applaud the administration. It is definitely on their radar. They're definitely starting to notice and address this. And I think we'll all be better as a society and as a nation when we view this as not just cost, but a true investment in infrastructure. And so that is the work that we're trying to do day in, day out with the administration. I will remind everybody too, the bill's not done yet. So yes, they've given a nod to the child care tax credit. It is nice. It's going up from $2,000 to $2,500 per child. But in fact, the child independent care tax credit, the CDC-TC, is the only mechanisms by which it goes directly towards child care. So that, unfortunately, still needs more work, and that's the work we're trying to do with this administration, and we look forward to working with them.
What type of regular communication are you able to have with either elected officials, the administration right now? What are they malleable on, from what you can gauge at this juncture?
Yeah, well, they're quite busy, as you know. So we're really trying to get to some pre-COVID levels on the CDC, TC, as I mentioned. But we're also just trying to inform them that, hey, perhaps we can modernize some of the language. And in fact, some of these credits and refunds were thought of decades ago. Mm-hmm. So it is not caught up and modernized with inflation. So we think a good starting point is that child independent care tax credit. But perhaps in the future, we've put forth something called a working family savings plan that can act very much like a 401k or a 401k, if you will, that it could be pre-tax dollars put towards child care. It can travel to and with you from employer to employer, and you don't lose it. So those are the types of ideas we're trying to put forth.
Not to ding you on what you just mentioned a moment ago, and I know that this is a common way that we kind of think about needing future generations in the future, because we say, well, infrastructurally, we need more workers, or infrastructurally,
Yes.
we need more people to be part of the engine that drives our economy, while we also get away from remembering that familyhood and being able to have that sense of belonging and care around us as well is critical. And this is where I think a lot of future generations really have a hang up, is that we may have lost the prioritization of that in favor of economy. How do, when we see surveys like the motherhood survey and the stress factors that are being placed on mother, how do we recenter around family values, knowing that economy is only going to be driven by those values as well?
Yeah, listen, it's a great point. I'm a family man, a father of three.
Yeah.
It's very important to me. I just know the tremendous joy I get out of being a father and having a family. And to your point, there's also broader community. And in that community, be it your neighborhood, your churches, we all know it's a village and we all care for each other's children and look after them. So I do think we do need to get back to that. I think the reality is in our society, though, we are much more transient than ever before. So we lose a sense of that. The other dynamic here, too, is it is a bit surprising probably to learn that most families have five caregiving occasions in their home at any given time. So if you think about an aging loved one, your pet, and the stat that really should get people to peak up is by 2034, we'll actually have more seniors in this country than children.
Right.
That is an alarming stat. So back to your question, listen, it takes a village. We think we can play a part of that by providing a caregiver in the home. But in fact, we also encourage people to look at friends and families and neighbors within their community to help foster a sense of belonging, as you said.
Brad, always a great pleasure to catch up and good to hear some of the insights, especially where you're moving the dial in those conversations.
Yeah, Brad, great to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, take care.